I think that distance learning benefits my students in that it provides them material on their time frame in a way that they can manage the material and manage their access to it. In other words, if they've lost something, they can find material, they know where to go. If they have a question about an assignment, they can find it, and they can find that answer online in the learning management system, at midnight if they wanted to. They can work on their time frame when other people have gone to bed, so they can set their own schedule. I think that's probably one of the greatest benefits of distance learning to students is the ability to sort of approach the material when you have the time to approach the material. And if you can't approach the material in one big solid chunk of hours at a time, the ability to break that up into little chunks as you have time to do it so that you don't have to do it all in a 1 hour or 2 hour setting.
So in terms of advantages for a professor who teaches an online course, I think for me it starts off with a little more flexibility of my time. I can set the opportunities for the students to meet with me. Chat rooms, what I usually do is I poll the class to find out when availability is, and then I might set up once a week an open directed chat where I'm there. So it really is like a classroom opportunity, but I can vary the times and I can decide, next week I don't have any opportunity. I usually set some possible dates. I can stagger dates. I can, if I'm traveling for research, I can still access my class wherever I am. So flexibility is probably the biggest thing.
Distance learning has definitely changed over the last 10, 11 years that I've been involved in it. And even before I became involved in it, it was very different. The first distance education courses were basically correspondence courses in the 70s. And up until that point, education was just this static, this is what we learn. The textbooks might change with the new content information, but education was very behaviorist, it was very faculty-centered. And when distance learning came about and when it really started gaining popularity and momentum, everything started shifting. We moved to this cognitive approach where it's student-centered and it's focused on the student learning and their interaction with the content and their interaction with each other. It's an entirely different environment. So we started with basically, email systems in the older distance learning. Then we moved into the learning management system. I started on WebCT, I think 2.0, way back in the day. And there were a few things that were available in it. Now I'm on a system where it's the Blackboard 9.1, it's got wikis, it's got blogs, it's got journals. We have our own library access. And what the LMSs are doing is they're seeing all of this freeware on the web, and they're pulling it into their system so that we have access to it. Then in our institutions, we have the opportunity to use Camtasia or Captivate and all of these other amazing technologies so that we can really bring classes to life. It's video, it's audio, it's focusing on the 3 different types of learning styles. And looking at what we have available today, I can't wait to see what they're working on next, because it just grows and gets better with time.
There's so many tools that we use in my class. We move way beyond just using Blackboard because we're able to incorporate YouTube into the courses. We're able to incorporate Web 2.0 tools like wikis. We're able to incorporate Photo Story, which allows our students to create video. Next semester, my students will be using a tool called iGoogle, which allows them to create a personal learning network, which is going to bring to them the podcasts and the blogs and the other Web 2.0 tools that they use to create this personal learning environment for themselves. One of the new things that we will be exploring is the use of apps on iPad and Apple. How can those things benefit our students? What are some things that are available that would enable them to explore yet newer, richer, more creative environments?
Having technology in the classroom will help our students in their professional careers a lot, in particular in our case, because we are all about communications, whether it be print or broadcast media, art or theater, or social media. We're all about communications, and so they see the impact of communications through technology right up front. That's important. We need to make sure that our students are not afraid of the cameras, not afraid of technology, and not afraid of communicating via technology. In fact, we encourage it. So using technology in the classroom is just part of a natural synthesis of what we already do in our department. But more so in other areas, I can see where the student that comes from a small rural community where there is no technology to speak of in some cases will understand that we're in the 21st century now. And you should understand that technology is extremely important and you should not be afraid of technology. So that's coming. That's coming in the near future, and all students can benefit from the use of technology in the classroom.
As far as this course, I'm having a great time. I think my students are having a great time. It's fun. The thing that I like about it is I get to see the students, and I get to see their personalities, and I get to see their smiles, and I get to see their frustrations. So it's fun. My students, I've had great comments coming back from it. There is a level of frustration with it as goes with the learning curve, but they seem to be thoroughly enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, and I think it's a great way to teach.
Okay, so recommendations to professors. One thing is to never assume. Do not assume that your individuals that you're talking to and writing to have definitely processed everything you have. Add in a lot of redundancies and allow yourself time as a professor as well. You can't do things very last minute. You really need to think a little bit ahead as to all the implications. Watch out for things like timelines on your quizzes and such. You have to set a lot of that, so you need to allow yourself a little more time.
Keep in mind that you are not simply taking materials from a face-to-face class and transferring them to a distance environment. You're going to have to make some changes in order to be successful in a distance learning class. And I think the key word is to keep the material interactive, so that students are not simply reading and responding to blogs, but they're also doing other things that are fun and interactive.
With distance learning, we teach to the world.
Try these activities online and it will get easier.
E-learning, your education on your time frame.
Try it out, try something, and start building from there. You don't have to do it all at one time.